Greetings, and I thought it's time we started a new video series which I'm calling Matrix Revealed. So this is presentation one. Now I'm going to paint a scenario. Imagine it's the year, let's say it's 2520. And I've started to see things that aren't quite right. So just follow me with this one and draw your own conclusions. This is all about a bit of hypothetical dot joining, really. Some of you or some of the people on some of the channels on the truth-seeking side have pointed to these great big cities that have been built in China and I believe in Ethiopia that are uninhabited. I mean, that's an investment in something that whoever's put the money into it, it's either a long-term investment or they're going to be wanting a return on that investment soon. So I'm looking back in the year 2520 and I'm thinking, we've got these great big tower blocks. We're going to have to call it China. We're going to have to run with this timeline with these years at the moment. And I'm looking at these bedraggled people. Maybe they're only 4 foot tall. Maybe they're taller. I don't know. But I'm looking at these people and then I'm looking at these buildings and I'm saying to other people, look, I don't think that these people built these great big skyscrapers in these cities. And then what about the rest of the world? Maybe there's been some sort of reset and you've got buildings from all different eras. Maybe not from that reset, maybe they're from a previous reset. And then I turn my attention back to the year 2020. And all I did, I went on Google, on images, I put in insane asylums. I eventually found one that shows a building. I've done no research onto this actual building. I'm going to take a pretty good guess that if I look into the history of this building, I'll find it's been destroyed by fire. These are very strange fires that can actually burn stone and burn concrete and burn brick and glass. But I'm turning my attention now to the 19th century. And bear in mind, this is just one place. And these insane asylums, you'll find them in Australia. Within 20 years of colonising Australia, you've got something the size of this. And then we'll read on Wiki how they become overcrowded. But that looks to be maybe half the building to here. So maybe there's a mirror of this on the other side, but the sheer size of it. And funny enough, there's no people there that I can see in this picture. That's the one in Mississippi. So I can't help but thinking, even the word asylum, break it down, you've got as-ly-um. So creating people in correctional centres and insane asylums and reprogramming, I'll say the word right in a minute, reprogramming what's left of a population and erasing all memory of their history, splitting off the children like a Pied Piper. Very interestingly, Jon Levi has followed up on Martin Liedtke with the Pied Piper operation that it was called, the evacuation of children from London. Well, 1940, from what I've read, they evacuated children from London to the south coast to Brighton, and there was a second evacuation. But why would they have put the children on the south coast, which is actually closer to France, where this invasion would have been coming from with the Third Reich? If they'd have crossed the English Channel, it would have been a prime target, a large city or a large town like that at the time. So even on the official narrative, you have to ask why they would have moved children there and then had to move them again. But why split families up from the parents? What is the real reason? I can't help thinking about the word museum and mausoleum as well. And maybe, just maybe, now we're back in this year 2050, I'm looking at old vintage, possibly even black and white film footage, and I'm seeing a Model T Ford in the same picture as maybe a Tesla car. And my wiki of 2025-20 is telling me that these vehicles were concurrently on the road at the same time. And I'm saying to people, hey, look, these vehicles don't look like they fit from the same time period. Imagine, if you will, like a huge concentration camp where you're deprived of food and you're told for a bowl of rice when you're starving hungry to put these clothes on and just walk up and down a street in front of a camera. And because you've been brainwashed, you've got this look on your face. Now think back to these street scenes we see from the 1880s and 1890s, or are they even the 1880s and 1890s? Because I'm starting to question the timescale, and I'm going to refer you over to the Unscrambled channel to look at the slowed down footage and then the frame by frame analysis, and a very different picture emerges. We have terms like foundling homes and we have terms like orphan trains in the 19th century. I would suggest that the 21st century version of those terms is called child trafficking. There is nothing new under the sun. Photoshopping, handlers of children, child trafficking, resets. This seems to be very much an ongoing thing. But I don't want to leave this as a picture of doom and gloom. I am purely painting a picture of what looks to be the plan that is happening. But there is also the spiritual side to this that is way beyond just looking at YouTube videos and listening to other people's words. There is an inner knowing and an inner feeling. And a lot of you that I talk to, I know, have shared thoughts, synchronized thoughts, and you can see something very different, a very positive side. And as I said on the last video I made, we are students, we are observers, and we are teachers. And I have said before, the question is, what are we teaching? Now, what about the artificial intelligence? Every word, every message, every video you put out, every website, every creation electronically, this AI is learning from all that we do. So, as I have suggested, I think we do have an ally there anyway, on top of the spiritual awakening, that inner knowing, and we will get through this. The consistent feeling from those on the spiritual side is this is a good outcome. And I definitely feel that. And it doesn't matter how conspiratorial or how mad this might seem to a lot of people that may or probably won't see this, because you can guarantee that this channel, like many of the other channels that are concerned about whether they're going to survive this copper regulation on YouTube, for example, we'll find other ways of getting the message out. If there's one thing that I've learned very recently since doing these videos, when you look at places like Alcatraz, and very often you look at anything on the web on Alcatraz, you'll find plenty of things on the celebrity named prisoners inside these places, and the ones that manage to escape. And when humanity is cornered into a isolated place like that, it comes up with some very creative and inventive ways of getting out of that prison. And some of them were partially successful, if we can believe anything that we're told. And look what happens with this path of spirituality. I don't know anybody that is on this path that is financially successful or is moving in the circles of the wealthy. Everybody on this spiritual path seems to be in a position of having next to nothing and is on very low income, if an income at all. But we're not chasing this superficial financial wealth, this fake wealth anyway. We're chasing liquid gold. So it makes sense that we would be put in this position, and because we are in this prison planet matrix. I've been referred to as Gandalf in the prison shirt, which, yes, I have got one on, the stripy shirt, and can't really see it, but it is there, and it is a prison. It's almost a subconscious message I've been putting out with that, so I wasn't really aware of it. I think it's thanks to Lee for this term, and I'm quite happy with that sticking. I don't mind being called that, because if I am Gandalf, well, I would be often quoted as saying they will not pass. And that is exactly what the message I am saying. The dark side will not pass. They have failed. Because we have won this. There is nothing to actually fear. All this is trying to establish what questions we need to ask with this whole truth-seeking movement, and even with the spiritual side, finding out what we are, who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. There is no plan that anybody has in front of us to say, right, in a year's time, we're all going to be at this point. We've got to find our own way. That comes from within each and every one of us. And we are. It's a cliche saying, but wherever you are on the path where you are supposed to be, if you are going through this awakening process. Don't worry about what gifts you may have or may not have. That doesn't matter, because when humanity is pushed into a corner, it brings out the very best within each and every one of us, I think. Certainly enough. It may not bring it out in everybody immediately, but those that then can come up with inventive ways will inspire others. This is a chain reaction. I'm not coming up with anything individually. I'm echoing what a lot of other people are saying, and we do spark off each other, don't forget, as well as getting this inner knowing, wherever this information comes from, whether it does come from within inside us, from the heart, whether it is a memory or whether it is being a spiritual download that is coming into us. Even that is an irrelevance. The point is that we mustn't lose sight of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, where we're trying to get to, and not falling for all the divide and conquer tactics. Don't dismiss channels with only 10 subscribers. You will be doing yourself a disservice. If you are drawn to a channel and it may only have a low number of subscribers, the numbers don't matter from that point of view. What matters is the message and the words and how it resonates with you. And from that, you may then possibly add to that message or put your own take on things, and then it spreads further, and we all benefit, because by being benevolent and caring and sharing, we all grow. That is the logical conclusion. It's out of love, but it is balanced with the logic of not being sidetracked and divided and conquered upon each other. There has already been too much of that. This is all about coming together. Anyway, that'll do for a first video in this new series. I wish you all a wonderful day, night, evening, even, I have to say, well, before midday, the so-called morning after the wake. But think of it more as a celebration of a new day. But we have to look back in the past. The past is important, because as a young child, if you don't master walking through a door frame, you're going to end up with a very sore shoulder, from repeatedly hitting that door frame. So yes, there are lessons to be learnt from the past. Whatever the past may be, we're still uncovering what that past is, and it's what we can take out of it, regardless of what the actual real truth is, because will we really ever know? The important thing is we are a presence in the present, and it's what we do today affects the future. These are the things to keep sight of in all of this. So thank you very much for listening, and please like, share, subscribe, reuse these words, take extracts out of it. I'm not going to jump up and down say you didn't ask permission. Freely use all this material. This is not for me. This is not to make myself some sort of star. I didn't never envisage doing this. The important thing is get these words out to as many people as possible, because this affects all of us, and sharing is caring. So I will say ta-ta for now. Thank you.